Welcome to Impact Tech Studio, where we spotlight changemakers solving India's hardest sustainability challenges. Today, meet Ganesh Shankar, founder of FluxGen. From digitizing industrial water systems to cutting usage by 30% and deploying AI that detects leaks and inefficiencies in real time, he's making water scarcity a measurable, solvable, and scalable mission across 6 global regions. Let's dive in. Hi, Ganesh. How are you?
Hi Arjun, good, thank you.
Yes. So, pleasure to have you on our podcast. We are a purposeful movement towards creating an ecosystem for everyone who is impact, as well as we are getting you the eyeballs for all the impact practitioners in our industry. So, this is where Impact Tech Studio stands. Okay. We come under the erstwhile business of Idea Shacks, which is a co-working space, and then it brand, which then grew into something that is now coming up as a venture fund. Okay, so wanted to have this conversation with you, wanted to get you on the platform, and we saw your profile and we were very excited about FluxGen and all the other activities that you also have been a part of, which have built up this serial entrepreneurship that you've gone through. So give us an understanding of what's your journey been and what is FluxGen.
First of all, thank you, Arjun. I mean, it's a real privilege and pleasure to be on your podcast. And I see many of my friends who are in the impact space been on your podcast.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean that it's great to hear about what you guys are doing at Impact X and about Idea Shack. And I wish you guys the best. And we need more people like you so that impact space gets its due importance. There's so much to do in this space, so it feels always feel like whatever is done is so less. So yeah, I've been an entrepreneur now for almost 15 years. Um,
Amazing.
and it's been a I don't know, I chose this journey. I can't say it is a difficult, tough, and those is a journey that itself it's something I always wanted to do something on my own. So to share a bit about my own background, I should say uh, something in impact or working in sustainability. It probably started very early in my life, thanks to event that triggered. So if I had to say that, like I mean, my father is a very workaholic person. He's 78. He still works.
Right.
And he used to give me time only on a Sunday when I was a kid, but undivided attention on Sunday. And I used to take me to this lake called Madiwala Lake.
Right.
I used to love that lake. I mean, I was about just 9, 10, and one fine day, I mean, this lake, which was such a enchanting place for me, they were told this lake will be converted into a residential locality. They want to convert this lake into
Right.
a building and make a locality. I was crazily disenchanted. I mean, to my father, it was not a surprise because, I come from the city of Bangalore, and
Mm.
many great places in Bangalore where you think of the Majestic bus stand, or even the market, care market, the
Right.
city market. All of them were lakes. Like Bangalore, Majestic bus stand was Dharmamudi Lake, Care market was Kempambudi Lake. So the Koramangala Indoor Stadium was Koramangala Lake. The hockey stadium was Akitimanali Lake. So for him, it was okay. This is going to happen. Of course, he was unhappy, but still not as decent. But guess what? The people around the lake, residential guys, decided to fight against the authority. I'm talking about this in 1994, right? And they decided to bring in forest department also into it,
Mm.
and they even conducted a painting competition for kids of my age.
Right.
And it so happened that we were able to protect the lake. The lake still exists,
Amazing.
and not just that, I also won the painting competition.
Mm.
And they gave me the title friend of lake in a certificate, and
Right.
along with they gave me a environment encyclopedia.
Right.
So I was not a guy who used to read or read, I mean, like books, not even my textbooks, but
How old were you then? How old were you then?
about 10 10-year-old, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that book caught me exposure to noise pollution, air pollution, water pollution, everything that is going wrong in environment. I could get to know. Right, ozone layer depletion, greenhouse gas emission. So that kind of changed my personal outlook. I mean, 10 is the age you start little thinking, right? I mean, so I kind of traded for
It's time, right? So you were basically building your own value system and you were in that phase of your life where something, whatever comes up, becomes a thing that impacts you more, right? Because that's the curious part of your life. And curiosity
yeah.
is affected with very small actions, right? In a big, right? So, yeah. So I can understand how,
Yeah, and it's also I was telling you right that lake walk with my father
right?
was a conversation. I mean, I used to ask him question. He used to answer things. I come from a family of teachers, so this conversations. I mean, my father realized that if I'm asking something, he has to. He was very earnest in answering and giving me. So this event kind of happened during the same time. So it kind of created that. I'm 42. I still don't have a driving license. I don't have a car. I cycle to work, and even whatever furniture we have is all rented. So
Right.
like use multiple times perhaps and yeah, I mean not everything, of course. It's not currently possible that everything that I consume is default sustainable, though my personal career pursuit is to make sustainability the default choice. So but yeah, I would say that I would say today in my office is just opposite to that lake.
Right.
Where I'm confused about profit and purpose. I know I look at the lake. I started from here, so I believe purpose has to be above all, right? While you have to build a business that is
So how
equal
did you start
profit.
your entrepreneurial journey? How was your entrepreneurial journey? How did it start? And what all have you done in your endeavors till now to reach FluxGen?
As I said, not done much, but whatever I done, I'll share with you. So I mean, like growing up in Bangalore, also got attracted to career in technology.
Hmm.
I studied in RV College of Engineering and worked in ISRO. I was fascinated with aerospace career initially,
Hmm.
and even today I have something of that in my work. Like then I worked in a startup in 2005. So I got a exposure to startup very early in my life when the word startup itself was not so attractive like today.
Right.
And I got a seat to do my masters at the Institute of Science. And during that time, of course, I had very amazing friends. So they were all talking. We used to have these discussions on what is the purpose of life and all those things. But yeah, I got a job in a US based company, GE Aerospace, and though my most of my education was public funded scholarship, but I took up a very fancy job too, But during that time, I realized that uh, there's no RIF or whatever. I've got benefit from taxpayers' money or whatever you think. Like I went to government school, semi-government organizations, and so then I decided I'm after about couple of years in GE Aerospace. I thought, uh, what do I do by improving the aeroplane by 0.01%? There's so much else to do in environment sustainability. I still remember writing a mail to my boss, very kind man, and I want to quit
Mm.
my job to become an entrepreneur in environment and sustainability, eco-friendly engineering solution for a country people. That requires me to leave this job.
Right.
So, and I didn't know anything about environment, though I left my job, which I don't recommend your audience to directly leave job and then think of what to do. So, but yeah, I did. A professor of mine from ISC told, "Why don't you work with Dr. Harish and a Selco and get some understanding of solar? It's a gets paid." Yeah, I worked with Dr. Harish Shande's Selco. I went to a village, small town called Ujire from Hyderabad, cosmopolitan place to a small village or a town, and worked on rural electrification projects, solar powered water purifier, and bunch of other projects, rural development projects.
Mm.
And yeah, that's when I got some understanding of you. I mean, while I knew the importance of environment, ecology, and sustainability, but I had not worked, right? I mean, I had not take experience. So after that I took a year break, just doing cycle rides from Bangalore to Goa, Bangalore to Chennai, just figuring out. So I mean, I was in a hippie state of mind. I don't know how I can tell your audience that's a state of mind where you are like on your own thoughts of what to build, how to build, what does it mean to build something. Then, of course, I still didn't figure out a business plan or anything. I just thought I'll build a projects and consulting company in solar, water, agriculture. These cycle rides also helped me understand the challenges of our country firsthand. I was mostly in urban world, so got a chance to see the rural world. I want to saw something that made sense. So, in your 20s, you're also like a socialist. You are not so capitalist. You are thinking about changing the world. So, I still do think about changing the world as something, but still not grounded enough to realities in various other fronts. Right. So, yeah, I started a projects and consulting company which worked on all these things. Thankfully, my alma mater, University of Science, gave me my first order because when you're starting out, who trusts you? People who are your teachers and your alma mater. So that's I'm really grateful to Institute of Science, Devesha Center for Climate Change, gave me some work to do for their research work in solar powered systems, to build a data acquisition system, put a monitoring system which would also put to the internet. At that time there was no word called IoT, but we were actually doing IoT, and somebody else told me that, hey, you guys are an IoT company, is it? I mean, like, yeah, why you say so? Then it was like, you're taking all the data, putting it in the internet, and you're putting on a dashboard. Oh, well, yes. I mean, this is industry. I thought it's industrial internet, and yeah, if it's IoT. So, to be honest, a lot of things, even I knew about environment and all, but the word climate change also became more popular at that time. We were working with the DHR Center for Climate Change. So, I should say these opportunities that I doing projects at ISC also helped me learn what does climate change actually mean. I mean, why does it happen? I mean, the scientific basis. It's not you just simply just below because everybody is talking about you don't trust. Like scientific community, how does it say? So it kind of helped me build stronger foundation into solving for this. So for 5 years, I built a projects and consulting company in solar, water, agriculture. By 2017, I thought I should actually build a startup. I mean, startup mission had taken off. Companies like Flipkart and all those guys had also raised money. So there was venture capital coming in India. But of course, I was trying to look at bootstrapping as a means, of course. And I floated a company called AirPro. So at that time, I was also teaching at the University of Science. As an entrepreneur, I was not able to meet my ends. So I has to teach at the University of Science to make sure that I can run
Doing a lot of
thing.
stuff
I was
and you're getting too modest about them, right? So you've done so many things and you're very modest about them. So you were a teacher in the middle, you were also trying businesses, you were failing at a lot of them, you were passing at a lot of them, you were learning so much, you've had such a deep experience, right? So you've gone through cycle rides to from Bangalore to Goa and all those endeavors of yours. Not many people do that, right? So what was the motivation behind?
not many people are foolish.
But no, there is one thing that is foolish, and then there is another thing that builds your character, right? So in the end, it ends up becoming so. I come from the thought process that whatever you do in life, if you know how to connect the dots, you are right now on the right path. You're always on the right path, right? Whatever you can study,
Many times
that whatever.
confused by ourselves.
Yeah.
No, but many times we end up success doesn't always work well, right? It can
Success
not
is an
really.
overrated process, right? But don't you think success is a very overrated concept? Why are we aiming for success when we can always look at small things which lead to success? So, for example, today's money. What happens today's money? I want to earn some money today. How will I get my today's money sorted, right? How is my monthly cash flow, right? Success on top of it, sometimes your failures are a bigger contribution than your success is, because you might feel sometimes that, okay, am I on the right path? Though I am getting all the cash, all the profitability, everything, is it aligned? When something wrong happens to my to the thinking or to the business, is there a North Star that I can align to and come back to the process, right? So success, I feel, is kind of an overrated concept. It's you should not
I agree.
success just aim for your impact, right? So you should just see what impact you provided. Were you able to make your business sustainable with getting good cash flows in the beginning, and then move in that direction? So I think you. So give me an introduction of what is FluxGen and what is the ambition of FluxGen.
Sure. So, yeah, as I said, this projects and consulting company led to my first spin-off. It's a drone tech company.
Yeah.
Used to fly. I'll tell a bit about FluxGen after this because this was a very important phase that led to that, right? So,
Correct.
so startup that was actually we were able to fly drones on solar asset, identify inefficiencies solar asset, we're able to increase the profits to our clients like Tata Solar, Acme, SoftBank, and Renew and others by almost 20%. When this company, of course, scaled, my two co-founders actually took it to the next level. Aditya Bhatt and Kaustubh. Kaustubh used to work with me in the projects and consulting company. Aditya, of course, is one of the nephews of my eldest cousin. So we were able to scale it, and this company was acquired by a San Francisco-based company called ZyteView. So fortunately, that exit did justify all the foolishness of living have a good job and all that, to the safe job security. So all that, at least some way, it. So, but then I told Aditya and Kaustubh that, see, I want to build a climate tech company for longer, and you guys carry on with the acquisition and join them. I would cash out and build another entity in water tech. So Fluxgen Sustainable Technology is that water tech company. So it fortunately came out of one of the work that we did as a part of a projects and consulting company that I earlier built. So we had done for a Tata Group company. I don't know, somehow Tata Group companies have always been my first customer. Whether if you consider Indian Science is a Tata Group's business, this one, like by Jamshedji Tata's. One third of his wealth was set up this, and even the AirPro first customer was Tata Solar. Here again, a Tata Group company had given us work. So we were able to digitize a water infrastructure. So the problem statement at that time was there is no way to identify inefficiencies in the water network in a large industry, right, where there is leakage, wastage, or excessive usage. How do you actually reduce the overall water consumption? And how do you become water positive? So what I mean by water positive is, can you use most of the water that you get from rainwater harvesting and use treated water, wastewater treated, and augment your freshwater needs so that the amount of water that you are getting from replenishment like rainwater, wastewater, you don't have to get any other source of water. So that was a problem statement. And as you know, if you don't measure, you can't manage. So we were able to build a solution that would digitize the entire water infrastructure, identify leakage, wastage, excessive usage, reduce water consumption by up to 30%. So what we did for one of our clients, the Titan Jewelry division in Hosur, kind of helped us build the whole business around that, like understand the problem from that company. And today we have about 150 plus companies using our solution, not just for reducing the water consumption and reducing the financial implication associated with water management. They also are able to comply to the local regulation by Central Pollution Control Board, Groundwater Authority, and also the BRSR, which requires you to disclose your water consumption and associated water footprint at large, right? So now today, all these things has, when we started out, it was actually, when I did the first work in water, it felt like people used to ask me, why water? I mean, of all things, you'll never be able to make any business out of water, right? But today, water has become such an important business risk. So people today realize that, like, there's a large corporate which shut down for 18 days because of unavailability of water. During that 18 days, a dairy company, their competitors acquired all their customers, and it was a permanent shift. Like, you can see, it is a bottom line risk. It affects the overall company, right? So that's how we've been. I mean, thanks to all this market forces, that we've been able to scale our business, and today we are not just able to help in digitizing, identifying inefficiency. We have been able to use AI to help our customers to take the wisest decision in water management. So it's just not water flow data, water level data, water quality, energy consumed by water infrastructure. We also take satellite data of their water basin in various ways, and we put up groundwater sensors, and we also been able to now track water storage in various lakes and tanks, and build system that identify the overall water ecosystem there, and also identify the rainwater harvesting from various facilities, and wastewater treatment performance, increase the performance of the wastewater treatment. We use the word use water in our terminology. Improve the performance of this STP, ETP, reduce energy consumption by 20% to 30% using this digitization and automation. So, like this, we help our clients to achieve their water stewardship goals. So, like this, we have been able to not just set up business, help our customers in India. Today, we operate in 6 geographies, including Middle East, Africa, some part of Southeast Asia as well.
Mhm. So, what is for example? So you work on the model of consultancy, right? So you work as a consultancy. So you charge as a consultancy, or how do you structure your cost for the client?
So when I started, as I told you, the earlier company was a projects and consulting. This is a product company, which is a
Oh,
product tech company.
right.
So we actually have our a SaaS platform, which is connected through a digitization IoT system, and it takes data from sensors, and it is a plug and play based system. We have our channel partners who will be able to take our solution, deploy, and we license our software. And so basically, of course, we have our own teams as well. We have key accounts where we only deploy the solution, but we have various partners who use our uh, platform to enable our services. So that way, it's a product driven, but our GenAI platform is actually able to answer the toughest of questions to manage water. So that way, it is productizing something which is more like a service, right? So that's we have been able to help large customers of ours. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you have created a product which aligns with the physical devices that you get deployed at the location. So you make your local vendors to drive this demand, right? So your demand comes from your distribution channel, right? So for example, if you are reaching the market, what is your go-to market strategies in these geographies?
So yeah, we started out initially deploying it on our own. We
Right.
had a team, but now we have partners. Like one of our very good partner is in Bangalore. We have Micronova. They are also their principal is ABB. So they were like always dealing with ABB. Then they wanted to work on water, and we became their what for water management. So they have been deploying our solutions like that. We have partners in various cities across the
You get
country now.
discovered. How do you get discovered for by companies which are aligned with such large organizations?
So of course we have our own very good marketing team. Actually, it's one person. She does a great job. So I would credit Manasa for that.
Yeah.
So we have been able to share our work in various important industry forum like AstroCham, CII, and we have built our own program called Hydromingle. In fact, uh, we have been able to do these events across the country. We did in IIT. We started in Bangalore through our event called Drop Top, which is our annual event, and then quarterly we do this Hydromingle event, and we did it in Bangalore, and we did it in IIT Madras. Now we are doing it in Delhi. In support of our partner Gurjal. So like that, we have been able to build, and our work somehow has got great interest. Like somebody like you reaches out, and we talk about us, and then it reaches. So to the extent, even Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, spoke about our work in Mann Ki Baat. And that was like, to be honest, I don't know how Prime Minister office works. I didn't even know they are going to talk about it. I didn't see it live. I just remember that day I was having a slight fight with my wife because I was not taking up our son. And then my father calls me saying that, hey, what are you doing? Your Prime Minister spoke about your work in Man Ki Baat. I was like, really? So, yeah, I mean, we are lucky, fortunate that such this one. And we've also been, one of our very interesting go-to-market strategies also, we take up this one. I mean, there are various corporate acceleration program like Cisco, Microsoft. Many of these companies have their own Maruti Suzuki. So we understand that to get into a large corporate, we have to work in their own ecosystem to understand their buying. How do they work with startups, small startups? Because these are like $1 trillion, multi-billion-dollar companies. How do you work? So we've been able to do really well in these programs, and now today Microsoft has given a lot of, I mean, Microsoft is one of our biggest clients. So we've been able to win many of their competition hackathons. So like this, we have been able to make inroads into many of these large corporates over and beyond uh, building our own vehicle for marketing or various methods. So yeah, I mean, these are some ways we have been able to acquire some of our customers. And then when the time comes for the order, we introduce our channel partner who are local to that location, and so that they get the best service. And of course, our channel partners themselves bring business as well. And so yeah, like so they have like if somebody is selling a lactometer, they're already very well into dairy business, right? So they would always like to sell something else, and water is a very important thing today. So like this, we work with a lot of people who already are doing business with large corporates, and we enable them to take up our product as well.
And your channels upstream and downstream are already set, right? So you have
Growing, I mean, that's why I would say we are still growing.
it's a good
and we are
start. That everything
Yeah.
from upstream and downstream is adding value to you. It has reached the point that it adds value now, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so that is a good thing. So how long have you been working in this industry, getting cash positive? Are you cash positive? Are you profitable?
So we have raised money for building this one, the team, stronger team, and scaling our business across this one. So we were definitely our unit economics looks very attractive to our investors. That's why they have invested in us. But yeah, we are looking forward to break even in some time, and if required, we might raise another round to scale the impact. Right now, we are in certain geographies we
Yeah.
definitely want to go after. We want to be the platform of choice at a global level. So based on how I mean, there are certain market dynamics
May
today.
I ask you,
We
how much have you raised in your first round?
So we did our seed round from Axilor and Arali. We did a 6.8 crore seed round.
Right.
And further to that, within 18 months, we were able to do our pre-series A of 28 crores from Iron Alpha as our lead, and Nitin Kamath from Rainmatter
Right.
joined this round, while our existing investors, both of them did that pro rata to keep the, I mean, they doubled on us. So quite excited that we've been able to do this round. But yeah, I'm not a believer that raising money is any form of this one. It is, well, there's some validation
Certificate
of
for
you are
trust.
doing something.
It is
Right?
something that you're trying to build value for your investors. So you building value is the main thing that comes out of it, right? And you are doing it in the right way. I think it is already productized. The product is on its own. It has a inertia that ends up being the positive flow of, if your product is handling all the requirements simultaneously of all the clients with the highest quality and is able to give them a little bit of a delight in the service giving, right? You're already sorted, right? Then it becomes a word of mouth that goes across the world, right? So that's amazing to know. Yeah, amazing.
But yeah, I mean, a startup, as you know, I mean, since you have been, it's always work in progress. A founder is never satisfied, whether with the revenue numbers or whether with the outcome of the product. So it is being dissatisfied is a standard trait, I guess. When I even talk to my other friends in SaaS Mafia and others, it's a common trait that we are never happy with whatever we've done. That also probably keeps us in bay to, I mean,
Right. Right. So looking at your product, who all do you see as your customers and who are currently as your customers, right? So how do you want to look at those customers in the future? What kind of new customers and what kind of industries can align with you and get value from you? Or and what are the current ones? So give me a little bit of clarity to just structure it well for the listeners.
Yeah, so in general, large water guzzling companies
Right.
are
Right.
important customer
Right.
to us, right?
Yeah.
Food processing, beverage, textile, apparel,
Right.
um, pharma, and today digital companies, data centers consume so much of water. So these are industrial manufacturing. Manufacturing is today very keen on manufacturing sector because of especially people who export to European countries
Right.
because of various regulations at a global scale, CBAM, or whether it is sustainability related regulations that make it very important. So manufacturing is very important. Export based companies. So automobile also, which are very important manufacturing. So that way, these are our major customers in industrial, and we have in commercial hospitals. We have a lot of hospital chains looking for implementing our solution. Recently, we have developed a solution to manage lakes. So because lakes are a very important foundation for cities and very in rural as well. So because lakes help in reducing the flood. I mean, it's a flood resilient system, and also it helps in groundwater recharge. So today we have been able to manage multiple lakes. So because of which the same companies whom we work for, their within the fence water management are looking at outside the fence, whether they're ESG target or whether it is CSR target. So a lot of large corporate CSR wings are in touch with our sales team. So we help them to rejuvenate lakes and manage, improve the lakes. So these are our major clients. Globally, also hospitals are one of. I mean, in the Middle East and Africa, we are looking at hospitals as a very important customers. And slowly, a lot of large corporates replenishment targets are met through our projects. So these are our major customers.
Amazing, amazing. So, looking at your roadmap, for any roadmaps have you built for the next 3 years? Any roadmap that you want to grow towards financially or operationally, or in terms of the kind of products you want to move towards? Give me an understanding of that.
Yeah, so you want to be a full stack water tech company and want to work with various other water companies which are in various, it could be wastewater treatment, rainwater harvesting. So the thing is, we want to play the digital part of the
Right.
water management solution because we want Fluxus for thesis at large has been very simple, just like how water as a liquid is transparent and clear. We want to make the data of water transparent and clear and build solution on top of it and bring in interventions on top of it. So we've already been able to bring in solution in terms of leakage detection, wastage detection, reduce water consumption. So now we are also able to improve the performance of rainwater harvesting system. So most of the rainwater harvesting system work very well on the ribbon cutting day, and nobody knows what happens to the rainwater harvesting system. The investment done on rainwater harvesting system,
Right.
is it paying off? That way, we are bringing that accountability to rainwater harvesting system. Likewise, for sewage treatment plant, effluent treatment plants as well. So we've been able to improve them. So
How do you bring
our
accountability?
goal.
So, how do you bring accountability?
So because we are able to bring in digitization to
Correct.
water
Correct.
being harvested. So we would put up a rain gauge. It will tell the total rainfall at that location at that time. Based on that, we know what is the total rainwater harvesting of that location based on the rooftop dimension and things like that. And we would measure how much rainwater was actually harvested and how much groundwater recharge happened. Through this, we would know what is the runoff. And I don't want to go to too many technical terms, but we are able to tell how much is the whether the performance is 90%, 80% or so. So that way we know the performance.
Then the sponsoring
is-
party,
think,
the sponsoring party can just execute it at the local level, right? So your solution,
yes, yes.
buying your solution for that execution, can go in, look at that data, and do the execution, and then update the data on your platform.
Yes, yes. So that way they know this much amount of water has been harvested, right? Same thing with wastewater or the sewage treatment plant or effluent treatment plant. So how much water gets treated? So how much is getting uh, not treated, right? So all this monitoring and water quality of the treatment plant, right? If there's a sewage treatment plant, why we work with large corporates, you may have seen some of this thing in your apartments as a sewage treatment plant, right? So if the treatment is not done properly, the water quality, it's generally measured in COD, BOD, TDS, pH, and all these things. That is a measure of saying that whether it is good to actually do groundwater recharge or it is even to plan for various other purposes, right?
Your model is suggestive.
Exactly.
Your model is suggestive also. It's not just measuring, but also suggestion.
Yeah, it is. It comes as a prescriptive alert, and it is also have a genuine which actually as you can any ask how is the performance of my wastewater treatment plant, sewage treatment plant, and you'll tell yeah it's working as per. Or if there's something not working, you can it gives a prescription what to do. Like more than prediction is great, but prescription is even better, right? So we've been able to help what action to take. So not many people are trained in water. I mean, very less environmental engineers graduate. On top of that, water engineers are even small fraction. So today we are enabling a person with a ITR or diploma to use this system to take action like how a water resource person would take action. That's how we are using AI to augment this skill gap to enable in taking the best
So your
possible.
product has a course also in it, which you are giving a certificate for.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we
Certified.
partner with Jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because we can't be doing the thing and give certification, we have been partnered with Terry and MNRE has a Griha certification. There's a national certification for water positivity and people who end up utilizing go through a independent methodology to check whether this was. So we have an MOU with Griha that way that helps us to introduce them to take up this water positive grading system so they can actually get a best if they do everything in water positive they would probably get the best rating, right? So like this, of course, many of our large corporates go for for CDP as A plus for carbon, water, forestry. In our case, it's water to an extent, carbon as well, because saving water means saving energy as well. They're like kind of interrelated. So that way, they also go for green building ratings and LEEDs rating and various other global standards and Indian standards to make sure that it's just not like
Data, and your data sits in the center for getting those certifications for them, right? And that is
absolutely
also optimizing of data. We're also optimizing on the input of the data as well as in the process of how you analyze the data so that a layman and all kinds of departments in an organization can understand the data and actually act on it, as well as if you want to have some certifications for your organization, you can use this data in a very constructive way, right?
Absolutely. So we have dashboards specialized for a ground staff to a mid-level management, senior management, up to the chief sustainability officer to CEO of the company. They like, for example, one of some of our customers are not just in one location. They have 10 different manufacturing plant and all of them are coming in one place. That is required for a ESG head or a chief sustainability officer because they look at multiple sites. But a ground staff is looking only at that site. Maybe it's in Biddi or somewhere in Bangalore. They look for the dashboard only there. So that way, we have been able to help provide data for various level in organization, and that is relevant to them. So this data enables them to take better action and also achieve these certifications as well, both national and global certification.
Amazing. So give me another understanding of what is your team like. So how big is your team? What is the structure of your team? Your core team and is how big and where are they stationed?
So we are about 50 member today, and I have my co-founder Deepak,
Yeah.
and Amit is the chief operating officer who joined after this recent fundraise. Deepak has worked in L&T for a dozen years, and he's been in energy space before this. And on the other hand, Amit Jain is actually from uh, he has wide variety of experience. He's been a serial CEO in the past, and he wanted to get into climate space. And I met him thanks to our Sus Mafia event, and during that time, he says, "No, I am at a stage in life. I want to get into climate sustainability."
And on another side, I would like to tell my audience, this man runs Sus Mafia as well. So he's a part of that movement as well. So that's a big group, and it actually gets people into a community which is actually productive for each other. So that also is something that I have also been introduced to. So it's an amazing thing. Congratulations on that. Yes. So you can
So
talk.
thank you so much. Amit. Yeah, I'll tell a bit about after I share about my team, but
Yes.
thank you for giving.
Yes. Yes.
So in leadership, as I said, we have Deepak, myself, and Amit, and so we've been able to have Bob, who's been the vice president for international sales, and Shreem, who's chief of staff. So like this, we have been able to, and Sham, of course, leads the product, and we have broadly divided team across these for five of us and various groups. And of course, I come from product tech background because I always love to build product. But as a founder and CEO, you invariably take up what is required for your company. So whether it is building this, telling the story, or raising money, or um, sales, I'm pretty much involved. And Amit has been really great in building maturity to the organization, as he has worked from 0 to 1, 1 to 10, 10 to 100, and in companies which are listed. So that way, at leadership roles in these companies as well. So that's how as he's been able to. And Deepak comes with a sharp sales and operations experience as well. And yeah, we have pretty much everything that a SaaS company would have, right? Product tech, sales, customer success, very important, or to make sure the adoption happens very well. To operations and yeah, I mean all the other functions. To talk about SaaS Mafia, of course, when I was running a company, I didn't want to do anything else except running. But I should say I wrote a blog post when my wife and myself were planning to have a child. I wrote a blog post that what kind of world am I getting a child to? And while the unsustainability fossil fuel guys are like a mafia, where's the green mafia? Where's the sustaining mafia? And that blog post took a lot of interest, and a lot of people we started catching up. And I never wanted to build anything, but people said no, we should build this. And it's now a non-profit being supported by various. We did TEDx as Mafia 1, TEDx as Mafia 2, leading to more people joining. We have 100 plus founders, and part of this core group of, and we have 500 plus friends of Sus Mafia. And we run programs like Sus Ventures, where we're building new startups coming out of the white spaces that we identify as well. And a program called Climate Ninja, where thousands of new talent are getting exposure into sustainability field, and they are being part of our teams. So I have people coming from Climate Ninja to even my companies, and we have many of our founders getting that talent pool through this program. So we've been supported by various people, including Dabur family, Pradeep Burman. Mirik has been a biggest supporter from Aarti Industries, Spectrum Impact. And now we are also collaborating with Rain Matter and others. So yeah, very excited about building an ecosystem that started out with all founders feel very lonely journey, and at the same time they have to achieve their goals, which include getting access to business, getting access to capital, getting access to talent, and through this mutual collaboration, we have been to help each other to achieve these important goals. So yeah, I'm glad. But we have a very good team in Sus Mafia led by Asta Gupta. She's building a really good team, and Anisa is running Sus Venture. She's doing a great job. Kaustubh Thange is building Climate Ninja. So we have a very amazing team at Susmifi. Right now, while I talk to you, we are running a program called Climate Residency Program with support from Aditya Birla and BITS group as well, where we have identified 5 startups and they are 1 month like as if in a villa, like a you can think of like a big boss, but they're actually working together to build their company. So there are a lot of very interesting program. Our annual event is Sus Crunch. I would invite you for the next Sus Crunch event where we get some of the almost all the people working in climate and sustainability come there. So yeah, thank you for asking me about Sus Mafia.
Amazing. My last question and the kind of simple question of it is, see, you being a product, right? Your product sits at the center of a lot of executions that can plug in into your product, right? So it's all about data, and your interest lies in water. But yes, obviously, it can be applied to the whole process in an organization. It is also efficiency improvement kind of a product as well. So looking at your product, it has a good life cycle, and I think there is a very positive way of looking at your product and getting you the flow of capital into your endeavors as well. So give me a runway. How much of cash do you have right now? Whatever you've raised till now, what is your runway? Till what time do you think you will be raising the second, third round? I think this is your third round, right? So you will be raising at a Series A, or how are you envisioning it?
So, looking at the kind of orders that we are getting, I am glad to say that we'll not actually run out of money. We are actually getting really good orders. So that way, I am not too. Also, we're very capital efficient in many ways. So that way, but having said that, to achieve certain growth that we aspire to. So we would probably do our next round, maybe Series A, in 27 later in 27 or early 20.
Correct.
And
You have
so
the
things go really.
yeah.
Yeah, but I do believe that there are certain milestones that we have in mind,
Yes.
and if you achieve it faster, why not? I mean, like, so definitely, I think, as I said, raising money to me is see, equity matches.
It is not the right, but we would love to be your journey as well. So that is the only place that I am coming from. I'm not asking you. Obviously, it is better for you to not raise always, right? It is always better that the business was able to grow at the pace you wanted it to grow at, and it was giving you the revenues and the flow, right? Nobody should recommend, and I do not recommend you to raise. But if there is a way to become a part of this movement, I'm very open to discuss with you in different ways as well. However, it comes up as your thing, wherever you see that there is a plugin that you need, not in terms of capital, but in terms of anything else, do have a conversation, right? Keep the
Oh, for sure. And
right.
no, thank you for sharing this. So, my intent was to say that we definitely like to scale, and if our scaling requires certain capital, we would definitely.
Yeah, but you
raise.
cannot go too fast on your scaling as well, because your team is right now showing you the character that it is in, right? So your co-founders are such a nice. From your conversation, I've understood that they might be just plugging into the whole system in a very positive way. Wherever the growth becomes faster than what you're hiring, which you also know, right? You've been in the ecosystem, you've raised twice, right? So you know, right? What is the flow that the company can understand, right? That is one thing.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for. I would definitely like to stay in touch with you guys, and always like to explore ways to work together.
Yeah.
And there's only way we to succeed in any business is how you build a partnership. So I mean, like, people partnerships are so
anything-
important,
For
right?
example,
I'm so glad
your sales part. So I'll give you an understanding. So I am based out of the UK. Rishikesh might have told you. So I'm
Mm.
UK and India. So 6 months in India, 6 months in the UK. So building ecosystems, kind of both sides. So anything that comes to your
Mhm.
mind where you could use my presence in this location as well, you could always ask for it,
Mhm.
right?
So
So this is one thing. Another thing that I could also currently, I have the interviews that we've done, right? So as you have worked with Harish Hande, I have interviewed him. You must have seen, right?
oh yeah, I'll see that.
Yeah, just a month back, I think.
An amazing person, yeah.
Right. So
Definitely
from that we
great guy.
have one lady also who gets financial learning across India through CSR funds. So she gets all the villages ready for all types of technology for payments and gets shops established and then build businesses. She started as payments and then she builds businesses on top of it. So she has a very long experience of uh, raising CSR, and she has worked with a lot of organizations in terms of their CSR head. So would love to connect you on LinkedIn for her as well, right? These are connects that we can obviously from our ecosystem give you. And however, we are growing modestly. Also, obviously, we are also moving in this direction because we also felt that impact is the right meaningful thing that you should work for. There is nothing else in the world that you should ever think of. Everything that builds up somebody's lifestyle and takes one economy's processing of any problem in a better way, right, into a better plane, that is where we should be. We should not be in places which are just for entertainment purposes. That is already sorted. You see revenues, maths, it just works from there, right? But impact is something that builds lasting value, and that is where we also stand, right? So looking at that, we are building an ecosystem. It's a small ecosystem, but we have an aim of reaching 100 people in the next 1.5 months. So we'll have 100 interviews and then we'll start making it a sustainable product. So till then everything is pro bono and we are trying to find the most curated guys like you, right? So so it was
So
a
thank you so much. I mean, this is really great conversation, and I think you guys are doing an amazing job. And really appreciate your intent. I agree to your point, right? Like there is so much of technology and other things for gaming, entertainment, all those things, but something as important are air, water, and sustainability. We find not much, right? I mean, somewhere we need people like you who actually realize the importance of it and bring it to the front row, right? And so that's
So,
so important.
yeah, so we are just modestly starting it, but you are the celebration of the day. So you are the startup that has actually built a product and has taken it to India scale and then beyond as well. So I would love to get introduced to your product and then introduce your product across for your value chain additions. So anything that is upstream or downstream, would love to understand your product a little deeper. So send me your presentation and any demo flow that you show your clients as well. Would love to see that demo flow in a video format or any other format that is comfortable for you. And then would love to connect you in your however I can plug in. So consider me as your extended team and kind of getting your connects through LinkedIn, whatever. My ecosystem is also growing. So however it goes, I keep you in my mind and make you part of it, right? So that is one ask from myself.
No, that's so nice of you. Thank you so much. I'll definitely send you all this that you have asked me.
Great.
Super
Great.
glad.
So I'll connect with you on LinkedIn, and I'll just start introducing you. Okay.
That's so nice. Thank you so much, Arjun.
Pleasure, Ganesh. It was such a nice talk. I learned a lot about your product as well and really inspired by what you're doing. So, good luck to you and I wish you wings.
No, thank you so much, Arjun. Really enjoyed talking to you, and uh, thanks for all the kind words. You've been very kind, and all the very best. And look forward to staying in touch and working together.
Let's become a community together. Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take care then. Bye. Cheers. Bye.
That was Ganesh Shankar of FluxGen, turning purpose-driven deep tech engineering and first principles sustainability into trusted water stewardship systems for Titan, Microsoft, and industries across India and beyond. You've been listening to Impact Tech Studio. Share this with a founder, policymaker, or ESG leader, and follow for more stories of innovators building a resilient future. Until next time, keep solving with purpose.